You know what I was thinking about
What?
earlier today?
What were you thinking about earlier today?
Do you remember the wild, wild west days of buying a movie theater ticket and then showing up to the theater and having to like fight for a seat?
Yes. Those days are not that long ago.
I know.
Our theater just went to numbered seats like 3 years ago, like a year before the pandemic.
Our
started.
local AMC was late on the bandwagon.
Yeah.
But I think it's safe to say like most major movie theater chains all do like, you know, like you buy your seat.
Numbered seats.
Yeah.
I think that, man, I just remember going to see, it was like the second Pirates of the Caribbean movie.
Those were the days.
And it was like opening night and it was like going to war.
Yeah.
It was like, you're going to be sitting like directly next to a stranger. Man, so much has changed.
Okay. Here's the thing that like, why wasn't like numbered seats and like buying your specific seat in advance not a thing way longer than it is now?
I think it just took longer for it to get to us. I think it was a thing for a long time in other places, but we live in like a relatively small town, and I think it was a thing for a long time in other parts of the country.
Like, do you remember for like the big movie releases, you'd have to go with you and your friends
early.
Hey, we need to be at the theater an hour before it starts.
If it was like a Star Wars or something, like an hour,
wait
45 minutes.
in line outside the theater.
Yeah. Well, and there was the classic, like, you lay your jacket down on one side and you sit on the other side, and then you have to fight people off where you're like, they come up and there's like, are these seats taken? It's like, these seats are taken.
Oh,
dude. They're taken.
Dude.
Back off.
It was so embarrassing when you had to save like 4 seats.
Yeah.
And it's just you. And someone goes like, oh, is that seat taken?
I remember
like,
there were times when we had to save like 6.
Yeah.
Like 6 or 7 seats. That's like people start to like, and it just grows resentment within the friendship whenever they're like late.
Oh,
and you're like, I can't hold these 7 seats forever.
You're frantically texting them like, hey man, if you're not here in the next 5 minutes, your seat's going to some random woman named Carol.
I need help.
Oh, and that was the worst part. Is like, even if you did get all your peeps, butts and seats, there's still a good chance you're sitting next to a rando.
Oh yeah. Well, that was the thing, is you had to work it where you get there early, but not the first one there.
Yeah.
You want to be the second person there so that you can pick a seat within the body of seats.
Yep.
So that you have friends on both sides and you're not on one of the outer edges. There's a science to it.
Yeah. But sometimes you'd think you were safe. Like, I remember there were times where
yeah.
It's not filled. We're in a row. We're like,
the worst.
Me and all our friends, we're just sitting in the middle of the row. There are seats everywhere. And some lunatic, some absolute psycho sits next to you, even though there are so many other seats.
No, the worst would be whenever you realize that, you realize you're not safe because the credits are rolling and it's dark now. Mm-hmm. And it starts to like, oh, maybe I'll make it. And then you see that one person walk in. You know the look on their face where they're like, they got their
neck long.
Yeah. And they're looking around and you're like, oh, no. And you're looking and you don't see any other empty seats. And you're like, no, there's one next to me. And you see them hunting and then they spot you. And then they, in the dark, have to go down the row, scrape their butt against you, and then sit down right next to you.
Do you remember when you were the friend late and you had to like in the dark look for your friends to like wave to you?
Yeah.
And like those 20 seconds where you don't see your friends waving and you're standing like, in the middle of the theater where everyone can see you, like heart pounding, like I need to find my friends. They need to wave me down like right now.
Yeah. Also, let's have brighter trailers. It's every trailer is inside of a dark cave for some reason. You walk in from the daylight and you're like, your eyes aren't adjusted and you can't see a thing. It's like pitch black in the room.
It's never the bright, shiny, like rom-com trailer that open up the theater.
It's always The Dark Knight.
Yeah. It's like, this movie came out 4 years ago and there's still a trailer for this.
Still showing trailers for this?
Like, we've seen it. Oh man, we're on to the third Batman post Christian Bale, and they're still showing it. Oh man, yeah. I just was thinking about that earlier today, and
those were the good old days, man.
Like, when our kids grow up, we're gonna tell them, like we're like Pepperidge Farms remembers, and just be like,
oh my gosh,
like we had to fight for our seats at the movie theater. Like we're gonna recall these days like we were in World War II.
Yeah, we had to fight too.
We had to fight.
We literally had to
seats.
like get in arguments with people sometimes.
And now you can. Now we
it's
are
all,
so blessed.
Boop,
We
boop,
can
boop.
stroll into the movie 30 seconds before it starts, and know where we're going.
Yeah.
Not a care in the world.
What is our generation's like electricity or internet? Because like we were alive basically. The internet existed when we were born. So like I don't count that as like our giant thing. You know?
I mean, by the time
what's going to be our giant thing?
By the time we were old enough to like get on the internet, it had already like been established.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is it even around yet?
I don't know. That's the thing. What's going to be the
AI?
made? Is it going to be that you can buy movie tickets on your cell phone?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Do you want to do a Mad Lib?
Do I want to do a Mad Lib?
I don't know. I'm trying to find one on here.
Okay. I'll
The judge's decision. You know how stupid it is to be able to utter the words. I think we've already done that one.
That classic scenario where you've already done the Mad Lib.
I feel like for grown adults, we do Mad Libs pretty often.
No, you know what? People are sleeping on Mad Libs.
I agree with that
They
100%.
People think it's for 10-year-olds at sleepovers, but I'm here to tell you,
nope.
It doesn't matter how old you are. Ages 6 to 90, man. It's a good time.
It is. I 100% agree. So I've got a couple of options for you here.
This is what our podcast has become. It's just like, hey, you want to do a Mad Lib right now?
Look, I mean, I'm always down for a Mad Lib.
This is peak programming.
You know what? You know what the best thing about a Mad Lib is? It's 5 minutes out of your day. You know what? You may not laugh, but what else would you be doing?
And it's a good refresher on your grammar.
Yeah, it is. What is an adjective?
What's an adverb?
What's an adverb?
We'll find out.
Yeah, let's check it out together.
Okay. Yeah, hit me with a Mad Lib.
So I have a couple of different options.
Okay.
Oh man, we've already done movies. It should be fun. It looks like. Should we do that one
Let's
again?
do it again.
Let's do it again.
These people weren't there when we did it.
Replay story. We did that one 2 months ago. Apparently, I don't remember it at all.
Hey, here we
All
go.
right, so we need a plural noun.
A plural noun.
Yeah.
Okay. Karens.
Okay.
Good old Karens. Yeah, just the silent podcast of Evan typing in the Mad Lib answer. This is what people want to hear.
This is peak podcast programming right here, is just silently typing into a cell phone. All right, adjective.
Adjective. Sticky.
I was thinking along those same lines.
I think just when you're already picturing a movie theater, you just think about that sticky floor.
Yeah.
That
Plural noun.
Another plural noun?
Yeah. Ears?
Richard Nixon's.
Okay.
So I think it's because I watched The Nice Guy.
Oh my gosh.
Remember that Nixon joke in there?
No, I don't actually.
He tells that story.
It's been a week and we're still talking about The Nice Guy.
We should just make this a Nice Guys podcast. No, he tells that story about the guy who was dying, and then he just so happened to like run into Richard Nixon, and they were like, what if he thought that's just what everyone saw before they died was Richard Nixon?
Okay, I do remember that now. Noun.
Oh, I'm going to sneeze.
Sneeze?
I guess like a sneeze is a noun.
Yeah.
But it's also like
an action.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true, I guess.
Yeah.
Let's pick a different one.
Noun. Oh, nose.
Nose,
yeah. N-O-S-E, nose.
Another adjective.
Effervescent. Let's see if Evan can spell it. I'm gonna be honest. I couldn't spell effervescent.
I think I got pretty close.
Yeah. I mean, as long as when you read it,
Yeah.
as long as you recognize what it is.
Noun.
Let's throw in your boy Nick Cage.
Should I do ya boy Nick Cage?
Yeah, your boy,
Yeah.
your boy Nick Cage.
Ya boy.
Which we've been teasing about doing an episode on Nick Cage.
We are going to.
We're gonna do it, but it you can't waste that episode.
No.
You gotta make sure.
Also, I feel like I have a family tie, to Nick Cage now.
Yeah. You haven't told the people.
So my son was born on Nick Cage's birthday. So
a holy day.
The same day. So I feel like Nick Cage is going to be something that comes up, more than once.
If Nick Cage, God forbid, had passed before your son was
Don't
born,
even talk like that.
We could have said he is the reincarnation.
I'm
Nick Cage.
I'm confident that Nick Cage will have a movie come out the year he dies.
Yeah.
And it's going to be called The Death of Nick Cage or something.
Something meta. He does have a super meta movie coming out soon.
I don't know when it's coming out, but he plays himself. Another noun.
Oh my goodness, all the nouns. Okay, we've done too many people, so we got to do a place or thing.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but Seattle is in my head. Seattle. I don't know. I really want to psychoanalyze myself with all these answers and be like, why did I say that one?
Name of person in room.
Well, that's you, Evan.
That's me. Here we go.
There we go.
I'm in. Location. We just did a location.
Shoot. Well, wait. It's the whole topic is a location. It's movie theater.
Let's do Idaho.
Idaho. Okay.
I don't know. I was thinking of Point Break. Isn't the lead character's name Johnny Idaho or something
like that? You have a good movie on your hands when a character's named after a state. Well, then you got Duncan, Idaho.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah. Maybe that's what I was thinking.
No, Johnny,
Utah.
Do you want to change it to Utah?
I don't think I can go back.
It's too late.
Adjective again.
Can't go back on a Mad Lib.
No, you can't.
Adjective. Musty.
I always go for scent based adjectives.
Scent-based adjective.
Whenever I'm doing Mad Libs, stinky or musty or goopy, which goopy isn't really a scent, but you smell it,
Goopy's a fun word to say.
It is.
Goopy.
Name of person in room.
Well,
should we do the same person or a different person?
Well, I guess you go with my name this time. Go Andrew.
Go Andrew.
Yeah.
Do that. Name of person in room.
Oh,
Evan.
Well, we could say the audience.
Adjective.
Oh,
it's too late.
Adjective. Goopy.
These are all adjectives.
Put goopy.
Yeah, I got it.
Go
it's already in there. Goopy.
Get the goop going.
Plural noun.
Mothers.
I want to hear you finish.
Mothers. Yeah.
That's it?
That's
okay.
it. Mothers. Those are multiple.
All right.
Do we got the results here?
Part of body, plural.
Oh, no. This could go south so fast. Part of body, plural.
Feet.
Earlobes.
I don't like earlobes. Come up with a different one.
Knee pits. This thing right here, the knee pit.
I don't mind that.
The underappreciated pit.
Okay, so it's calculating now.
Now it's calculating. Now it's going to ask you.
The app just destroyed it. It just closed out.
Are you kidding me?
Hold on.
Do we have to redo this whole stinking Mad Lib?
I don't think so. Hold on. It might. I don't know. Hold on.
Kids, this is why you don't use a free Mad Lib app.
This is
on your iPhone.
No kidding.
We've used this before.
Okay. It saved it.
Okay. Oh my
got
goodness.
Here we go. Movies.
Someone listening just had a heart attack.
Yeah. This is called Movies Should Be Fun.
Okay. Hit me.
In recent years, there have been too many disaster movies in which tall Karens catch on fire. Sticky dinosaurs come to life and huge Richard Nixons attack people in the ocean, making you afraid to get out of your nose. in the morning.
Oh, yeah.
That makes no sense. Movie fans ask why we can't have more effervescent pictures. Like
That's totally me.
Movie fans ask why we can't have more effervescent pictures. Like It's a Wonderful Ya Boy Nick Cage. Gone with the Seattle. Or Mr. Evan Goes to Idaho. These films made you feel musty all over. These same fans also ask why we can't have more funny films with comedians such as Laurel and Andrew and Abbott and Evan.
Classic comedy duo.
These goopy performers gave us great slapstick mothers. That still makes our knee pits ache from laughing.
Oh, man.
Boom, there you go.
I'm picturing like...
My favorite moment was movie fans ask why we can't have more effervescent pictures like It's a Wonderful Ya Boy Nick Cage.
It's a wonderful Ya Boy Nick Cage.
That's a good one.
I just love picturing, you know how on movie trailers they drop like all the press like quotes of like reviews, and it's always like it's like an astonishing achievement, but then what if there was one that's just like left me feeling musty.
Left me feeling musty all over, everybody.
Go check out this new movie. It left me feeling musty.
2 musty thumbs right up.
Oh man, that did not disappoint. A good old Mad Lib.
That's why I think Mad Libs are so good, because you're not out anything.
Yeah.
Just a couple minutes, and maybe you had a good hard laugh.
It really helps you tap into that like pure self, that like naive younger version of yourself that was just open to laughter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It also helps you think of silly words.
Yeah.
And remember that goopy is fun.
Use goopy in a sentence this week, guys.
Use next Mad Lib you do. Throw Ya Boy Nick Cage in there. It will not disappoint.
It will not
in the Mad Lib.
Yeah. Well, welcome to Professional Appreciators. I like saying welcome like 7 minutes into the podcast.
Yeah. We'll put the timestamp if you want to skip through that part.
Yeah. I'm not going to say welcome to the people who accidentally clicked on the podcast or on the video. I want to say welcome to the people who committed.
Who stuck around through the Mad Lib.
8 minutes of bits.
Yeah.
Those are the people who deserve a welcome.
Yeah.
But today we kind of struggled to come up with what we were going to talk about.
It's been a busy week.
Yeah.
It's been a busy week.
What doesn't help is it's been busy.
Also, you and I have been watching drastically different things from one another.
We haven't, like, all the stuff we want to see this month hasn't come out yet.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen a few things recently that are probably worth talking about, but they don't fit like a theme.
I've mainly been watching climbing documentaries.
Yeah, you told me.
And
that was not helpful. I texted you this morning and was like, hey, like, I have some ideas, but what do you want to talk about? And you were like, I've been watching climbing documentaries.
Dude, get into it, man. You know it's fun.
I didn't know there were so many. Like, I knew about Free Solo, but
2 came out. One came out this year that I've been wanting to watch that just dropped on Netflix recently. Mm-hmm. And then 14 Peaks came out on Netflix. And 14 Peaks, well, they were both...
The 14 Peaks of McCluskey?
No, that's not it.
14 Fists of McCluskey from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh, yeah, no, that's not the same thing. But 14 Peaks was really good. And I actually think you'd really like it. But like I've said to you before... I'm the biggest poser ever. Like, I would never climb a mountain. Like, I would love to like have the opportunity maybe someday, but like I just feel like I stand in awe of those people. So like anytime I have a chance to watch a good climbing documentary, because there are some great ones out there, I love watching it and getting into it because I'm just absolutely in awe of their ability to do that stuff.
And this is free climbing?
Yes. Well, 14 Peaks is different, but the other one, the Alpinist, is solo climbing.
Right. So like they have no ropes.
Yeah. The Alpinist was a solo
real
climber.
Ones. The Mission Impossible 2, Tom Cruise.
Yeah. These guys are just unbelievable. Man, it's crazy. But those 2 climbing documentaries are very, very good. 14 Peaks. Yeah, that was something else. The story in that one, man.
I think the only thing of note I've seen recently movie wise is like Last Night in Soho.
Yeah.
The Power of the Dog on Netflix.
Oh yeah,
I really enjoyed.
I watched that as well. We should talk about that. We should talk about that because
talk about that eventually. And then what was the other Western I watched on Netflix? The one with
the and
what
the
was it called?
With the guy.
The new Marvel guy. What's his name?
It's gonna come to me here in a second.
Anna is gonna kill me.
It's gonna come to me here in a second.
Yeah, let me back up to my. This is why you get a letterbox page. The Harder You Fall.
The Harder You Fall. That's right.
Yeah, that's kind of hard because that's not like a Western title.
No, it's not.
No, but the harder they fall. I actually really dug that.
Yeah.
But before we get into that, we kind of decided on a topic.
Yes.
And based on a true story, which I was thinking about this.
Uh-huh.
When you really think about like all the movie genres that are out there, I feel like based on a true story is a widely made genre that no one talks about.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Like, and I feel a little bit like people don't sometimes whenever there's something that's based on a true story, they shy away from it because I think it's very easy for people to latch onto it and be like, this isn't accurate. This isn't correct. Like this isn't in this time period, they wouldn't have done this, that, or the other. Like people get super, super critical about it. Mm-hmm. But the way I think about it is that this was inspired by some true source material, and there will have to be variations upon that true source material for the movie. And some of it could be very accurate, and some of it could be an extension, just a stretch of what that is, because it is still a movie. They want it to be entertaining and stuff, but I do enjoy kind of digging and being like, okay, so what part was like that's a crazy story. What part was real? Yeah. What part was accurate? What was kind of stretched and made up? I really enjoy that part of it. So as long as you don't get too like, it has to be exactly correct the entire way. Yeah. And just realize like it still has to be a movie.
I'm the same way. It's like, I think there's a point where you don't want to come across like you're trying to be accurate and then abandon that. But if you just come at it where it's like, hey, like we're using this true story as inspiration to make a really compelling film. Yeah. And sometimes you have to change things to enhance the drama. Yeah. And speaking of The Harder They Fall, I really liked what they did because the characters in the movie are based on real historical people, but they made it clear at the very beginning. They said, this is a fictional story. Right. But the characters are real. Right. And I was like, okay, you just made it very clear right off the bat.
I actually really like that. And I think that if they hadn't done that, the rest of the movie would have been really confusing. Kind of. But
because stylistically, it's so obviously like hyper fictional.
Yeah. But that is really cool. And also I do feel like that's a bit of an untapped well of like, there are so many like wild characters from history that are very larger than life and unbelievable, that it's like, well, what if we took this character that was kind of a real person and put him in this interesting situation? How would he react? That's kind of a fun
Well, and then there's the reverse of it. There's the Fargo move where it's a completely fictional story, but you put at the beginning in the title cards, the events in this movie depicted are real, based on real people. We've changed the names that protect the identities of the victims. And that's a really interesting twist where it's like, hey, let's tell a fictional story, but say it's real and see how that changes how the audience watches it. Yeah. That's really cool.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie. I definitely thought that was, I did not understand that the first time I watched that.
How could you?
And I was like, wow, this is a real story. Whoa.
I like how they could do that. Like I didn't know, like you can just do that.
Yeah, that is like, I didn't know there are no rules.
There's no like, there's no based on a true story police.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there are.
It's like, hey guys, stop the movie. Yeah. We just got word.
Not real.
Not real.
Just wanted you to know. Yeah. Now keep going.
Okay, so would you rather talk about some of your favorite based on a true story movies, or would you rather start with talking about a true story that you think would make a good movie?
Oh, interesting. What immediately comes to mind, just because I feel like it's the most recent true story movie that I've watched, was King Richard. Mm-hmm. So I think maybe I would prefer to start talking about movies that I like that are based on a true story.
Let's do that.
And the two that I'm thinking of, have you seen King Richard?
I have not seen King Richard yet.
The two I'm thinking of, you have not seen. So
great.
There you go. King Richard. It's the story of Richard Williams, who raised the father of Venus and Serena Williams.
I was ready to step in and drop their names in case you forgot.
No, I won't forget.
I was like, he's not going to remember Venus and Serena. So I was about ready to pull that mic back and just be like, I got you. I got you.
Put the pin back in the grenade. So it's about their father and kind of how they grew up and how he raised them and kind of what he did and his plan for how he wanted them to be the greatest tennis players in the world, which was a goal that they accomplished. And this is an interesting story because as I was watching it, I'm not a huge tennis fan. But as I was watching it, I was like, is this true? Like, I think all great stories based on a true story make you ask at some point in the middle of the movie, is this true?
This can't actually be true.
Is this actually true? And so I found myself at certain points in the movie being
he's not a real king.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a confusing title.
This hold up.
No, but I found myself asking in the middle of the movie, like, this is a really unbelievable story. Like how most true stories happen organically, where it's like a person in a certain circumstance has a skill or an ability or something, and they use that, and much to their surprise, it takes them to like different places in their life that they wouldn't have expected.
Yeah.
The different thing about King Richard was that he says adamantly he planned this. Like, this was his plan all along. Like they have him saying it in the movie a lot, and they have footage of him saying it, like actual like footage from years ago whenever they were kids of him saying like they will be the best tennis players in the world. Like, they're going to be the best in the world, the best ever. And I've planned for it. I have a specific plan written out since the day they were born. And it's like, this is like, how could this be real? Like,
that really rides the line between like inspiring and also like, is your dad insane?
Yikerinos? Yeah, also, but yeah, that's one thing in the movie. And they didn't do a ton of it, which I think was actually good. Like, he was not a perfect person. Like, they referenced that in the movie at one point in particular that I'm thinking of. Like, he was not a perfect guy by any means, and they make that pretty clear. But I think the reason why it works, and I thought about this because I was like, that it rides that line between insane and inspiring, because what if his kids didn't want to be tennis players? And he forced this, but the thing that makes it lean inspiring as opposed from crazy, which it is crazy too, is that they had that same dream. Like, it really seems like, and the way the movie depicts it, it really seems like they had that dream, that they were like, we want to be the best in the world, and we're going to do what it takes to be the best in the world. So that's why, like, it kind of, it makes you feel better a little bit because, they also wanted it.
Well, did you know Joe Rogan's dad actually, his whole life was like, you're going to be a podcaster.
Oh my gosh, dude. For a second I was like, Joe Rogan's dad, what?
Joe Rogan's dad was like, you are going to be the greatest podcaster / host of X Factor of all time. I'm
playing for it.
Dad was podcast. Why did young Joe Rogan sound like that?
What do you think the first podcast was?
It was probably something stupid. Like, you know how like the very first YouTube video was like me at the zoo?
Yeah.
And it's like 10 seconds of like someone at the zoo.
Yeah.
The very first podcast was probably just like, hey, what's up? I'm reviewing Doritos. Yeah. It's me, Dorito boy. Spicy nacho. Let's try. Oh, they're spicy.
And there was like, well, back then there was just nothing in it for you either.
Yeah.
Like you just sent that out into the world and people were like, well, let me go download this Doritos review and then like painstakingly like put it on my listening device.
This audio of a Doritos review. Also, like when podcasts were in their infancy, when you wanted to like get the word out, like how would you explain that to someone? It's like a radio show. So, well, what radio channel is it on?
Whenever you want.
It's not on. Well, it's not on the radio.
Yeah.
What?
That must have been an interesting concept to explain. Yeah. It really is. That is fascinating, though.
Where were we?
Yeah, we were talking about movies.
Okay, back to King Richard.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it, so let me just ask you something real quick.
Yeah.
Our boy Will Smith.
Yes.
I feel like he's been in some like hits and misses recently. How is Will Smith in King Richard? Because I feel like he hasn't had like a good role in a while.
Honestly, he crushes it.
Okay.
Like he really does.
Okay.
He crushes it. It's
That's
very
awesome.
good. Yeah, he does a really good job in it, and all the acting is actually very good. John Bernthal's in it.
Oh yeah.
And he's really good in it. And
the best like supporting actor
in
the last like 5 years.
Yeah, they do. It's really well acted. It's good. Will Smith does a great job in it.
That's good.
And yeah, it was not, you know how sometimes whenever you're watching a movie and it's based on a true thing or whatever, and you're like, that's still that person, that actor. Yeah. It's that actor.
Yeah.
King Richard doesn't really have you ask that. It doesn't have you asking that question really once you get 10 minutes in. You're like,
good.
That's Richard. So yeah, it's he does a good job. Another based on a true story recently that came out that you haven't seen still, which I'm shocked at.
Yeah.
The Last Duel.
Oh, I thought you were gonna go Tick Tick Boom.
Oh, dude, that's another one though.
I thought that's where you were going.
That's another one.
But
that one actually is supposed to be very close.
Again, goes back to the thing. The genre no one talks about that is everywhere based on a true story.
Yeah. That movie is very good. And I'm not a musicals guy. Mm-hmm. I don't really like musicals very much. You know, nothing against musicals. I actually think to do a musical.
You're talking about liking musicals like it's like a thing worth being canceled over.
Listen,
like, look, I'm not racist.
Look, I know that there are a lot of people that really love them.
Yeah.
Like really love them. And I don't want to.
No, I see what you're saying.
Like, it's not that musicals are bad. I'm not saying that musicals are bad. I'm saying I have a hard time immersing myself in that world, depending on how the musical is done. Mm-hmm. Tick, Tick, Boom, I did not have a hard time immersing myself in that world. The way they laid the songs in and the music into the story was really good. And I must say this for musicals. So hard to have to be so hard to write.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I'm going to write dialogue to this film or play, and I'm going to push the story along with my dialogue, but I'm also going to write songs that have the beats of the story in them and like have character arc in them that push the story forward. That would be so hard to write. So like, I have a great respect for it, but it's not my main.
Well, I've always wondered what the script for a musical looks like before the songs are written, because is it just like interior, dance studio, day, John sings the song, next scene. You know, it's just like,
they write the song, man. It really is. Well, and Tick Tick Boom really, it does a good job of kind of showing the struggle of that and how much time and effort and commitment it takes. Yeah, I had forgotten about that one a little bit, but I thought about it for days after I finished watching it. Yeah. It was very, very well done. And Andrew Garfield can sing, bro.
That's awesome.
He can sing, and he acts his butt off in that movie. He does a great job. It's
Lin-Manuel Miranda's directorial debut.
He did In the Heights, I think.
He didn't direct In the Heights.
Oh, he didn't direct that one?
Not the feature version.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure he's done like theater directing, but
yeah.
I
thought he directed that one too.
No, I think that was
Well, no, dude, Tick Tick Boom was like that was a very good movie, and the songs are extremely good. the story, Jonathan Larson's story is fascinating. That whole story, I don't want to say too much about it because I do feel like knowing too much about it could,
No.
Like I think there are things you could give away that would mess it up. So I don't want to say too much, but all I can say is I really enjoyed it. The songs are going to be stuck in your head for days after you finish it. And Andrew Garfield's performance was it was incredibly moving. So awesome. Yeah, I think for anyone that is an aspiring writer or creative of any kind, musician, would really get something out of that movie.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Well, before we move on to true stories that could be movies, I want to share what my favorite based on a true story is, or maybe like my second favorite.
Go for it.
I wonder if you could guess it. What my favorite based on a true story is.
Your favorite based on a true story. Can you give me like a hint, like a genre or?
Okay, I'll say.
I mean, it is kind of a genre.
I'll say it was made in the last 11 years.
Okay.
So it's not like an old one. It's not a super old one. And it's about technology.
No.
What was that?
It's about technology. I don't know. Tell me.
The Social Network.
Oh, yeah.
I love that movie.
Yeah.
And I still think, I mean, it's not like it's underappreciated, but I feel like every year we should be singing its praises.
Yeah.
Especially recently, I feel like that movie becomes more and more like prescient.
Yeah.
And how it's like observed social behavior.
Yeah.
Especially with like Facebook coming back into the news and like all the controversies. Right. I love how it's like a modern take on Citizen Kane.
Yeah. Interesting.
Which when Mank came out, I remember David Fincher was talking about how like when he made The Social Network, he always saw it as like a Citizen Kane like story.
Yeah.
You know, if you think about Rooney Mara's character as like the Rosebud and how the movie ends.
Yeah, I hadn't connected those
with
dots.
Zuckerberg like looking back at that initial relationship and what inspired him to even make the Facebook in general was just like he could not connect with this one person.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's like
that's
Kane's,
really cool.
You know, connection to Rosebud. I really like that, but I just love its examination about how like this thing that went on to control all of our lives started because like one guy just couldn't connect in real life with a human being.
Yeah.
And which is like, that just sums up everything that's happened in the last like 15 years. It's just like how technology has affected our inability to like socialize and how it's, changed the way we socialize.
Yeah.
And how it preys upon those human desires that are built into us.
Right.
So I just think like every year I watch it, I'm like, man, this movie is like, it was made in 2010 and it's still relevant.
Yeah.
But you take away all that because like I know there's like some fiction to it, like obviously.
Yeah.
So you take that all away. It's so good. It's so engaging.
Yeah.
It's directed so well. Aaron Sorkin, you know what? Like I know he gets some flack for his Sorkinisms.
Sure.
But the dude knows how to write dialogue.
I love him for it though.
And when he's in the hands of a guy like Fincher, who like knows how to edit and knows what and like when to stop and when to keep going with the dialogue, it's magic. Yeah. I love that movie to death.
Yeah. Also just like what a unique pairing and what a like rare thing it is to have such a well-known writer and such a well-known director kind of put together and really very different styles.
Yeah.
And have that be something that comes out. Yeah, that's an awesome movie. I often forget about that and I feel like it couldn't have gone on last week's episode because I think it was very well it was very recognized. But I do think people tend to forget about those kind of things.
Yeah, I think it's one of those movies that in 2010 it was so hyped.
Yeah.
That people, like when something gets so hyped, people start to be like, okay, settle down.
Yeah.
But I think enough time has passed where like, let's just admit,
like
if if you're talking about modern
maybe we
classics,
shouldn't settle down about this. Yeah.
It's The Social Network.
You know what else is has characters based on a true story?
What?
Heat.
Dude, when you said this morning, I was thinking about doing movies based on true story. I was like, you're gonna wiggle in Heat in there.
Yeah, well, it's in here now.
Okay, real quick, the other based on true story that I love is Catch Me If You Can.
Oh man, that
is the ultimate based on a true story
that
movie.
is, because it does exactly what I was talking about. You get halfway through that movie and you're like, okay, what if this is real?
Yeah, you're like, no,
how much of this is real?
Stretch this, and they really did it.
They did not stretch it that far.
Yeah, it has that element. It has the indulgent element, which is like when you watch this movie for the first time, you're like, I kind of want to be that guy.
Oh man, yeah. I feel like I don't want to say all Spielberg movies.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's something Spielberg can do really well sometimes, is like, man, I want to be in there. Like I want to be in that world. I want to live in that world, you know?
Yeah. It's an underrated Spielberg movie.
Yeah.
It does not get its proper due along the lines of like a Jurassic Park or a Jaws.
Really, it is kind of fascinating too, because it was like, you've got DiCaprio, Hanks, Spielberg, like,
yeah,
it's like quite the trio right
there. You got Christopher Walken.
Oh yeah, man, he's so great in that.
To Myers.
Yeah, with the cream. In the bucket of cream.
Oh, dude. Also, I think that's an early like foreshadowing of Leo's like comedic chops.
Yeah,
because there are a lot of moments in that film where he has to like carry the scene comedically. It's
really funny, yeah.
Like especially the scene where he's pretending to be a doctor and he has to like rush into the surgery with the leg.
You know what, dude? Amy Adams.
Oh, early Amy Adams.
Yeah, is in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I forget about that.
Yeah. It's a great cat and mouse movie. It's one of those movies where when it comes on TV, like you have to stop what you're doing and watch it. Yeah.
It's like I'll just be standing in the living room watching it for like half an hour and I'm like, what was I doing? It like puts you in a trance. Why is it that as people, we enjoy watching movies where just people are smart?
Yeah.
Like, I know that smart people are fascinating. Sure. Yeah. Like, that's true. Mm-hmm. But, like, I just love every time in that scene, whenever Tom Hanks goes up to him and says, like, I figured out how you did everything, but I want to know how you passed the bar. How did you cheat it? Yeah. And he was like, I didn't cheat it. I just studied really hard and passed it.
Yeah.
And it's just like the first time you see that, you're just like, oh man, like
I got a theory.
Okay.
Here's my little theory on that. I think it's because we are raised to believe in all of these rules and systems and you have to play.
Oh, here we go.
Here we go again. Like you have to play the game this way, right?
Right.
And then when we watch a movie or read a book or a story about someone who's like cheating the system, it's so rewarding because we've spent our whole lives being like, no, you have to do it this way. You got to put in this, like you got to wait your turn, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
You can't do this. You can't take this shortcut. And then it's just great to watch someone be like, nah, these rules.
I'm just going to skip straight to the front.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to pretend to be a pilot.
And then everybody's like, but what about that guy?
Yeah.
It's like, well, he's already gone. We can't stop him.
You see like kind of like in a way how quote unquote, how easy it could be.
Right.
And like how like, just like kind of gullible people are.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like people are eager to trust.
Yeah.
Like that's, and I think people that realize that can take advantage.
Yeah.
Like Leonardo DiCaprio in that movie realized that people are eager to trust.
Frank Abagnale.
Real person, man.
Yeah.
Crazy. That's a great one, man. I had forgotten about that one.
If you have not seen Catch Me If You Can, you have to watch it.
That's a very easy recommendation. I feel like
so engaging.
Yeah, it's just one of those movies who doesn't enjoy that. Yeah. So fun.
Do you have a story that you would love to see adapted into a movie? Because I have one.
You do?
I do.
You go first. Because I didn't really think about this.
I'm just going to be forthright. It's not a story I've like had for years. Like I literally just read about it today in preparation.
Yeah.
But I think you'll enjoy it.
Okay.
Part of it is because it involves our home city, St. Louis,
Ooh,
which is confusing because I'm wearing a hoodie with a giant Cubs emblem on it.
Pay no attention.
Grew up in St. Louis. I'm a Cubs fan. It's weird, but get over it.
We're all over it already.
Okay, so I read about this today in preparation.
Okay.
It's about the 1904 St. Louis Olympics. Are you ready to hear about how crazy this Olympics was?
I'm so ready, dude.
Okay, here's
this
the first.
This sounds so good.
Yeah, I want to see a movie made about this. Okay, and then when I tell you the whole story, I'm going to tell you who I want to direct it. Okay. First, the Olympics was not supposed to be in St. Louis this year.
I love it already.
It was supposed to be in Chicago.
Okay.
But St. Louis was planning a World's Fair around the same time.
Okay, so whenever you said St. Louis, I was thinking World's Fair St. Louis.
Yeah.
Movie idea, but go ahead.
Yeah. So they were planning a World's Fair.
Okay, yes, they were.
And the city of St. Louis was like, hey, we want the Olympics. And so if you're going to give it to Chicago, we're just going to throw a World's Fair and put in some sports competitions. And it's going to be a whole mess because,
right,
it's going to be a divided audience.
Well,
so then the people in charge of the Olympics caved and gave it to St. Louis.
Jeez, St. Louis, that's a dirty move.
But then because St. Louis wasn't at the time well constructed city with enough infrastructure
details,
a bunch of countries opted out.
Really?
So I think I got to find the exact figure, but out of the 630 total athletes there, 523 were Americans. So there were 630 total athletes.
What?
Only 523 of them were American because so many countries opted out. Only 12 countries showed up because of the low speed of travel in St. Louis. So there's that whole element.
Yeah.
Well, here's another thing. It lasted for 5 months, which the Olympics, if you've ever watched it, does not last that long. It lasted for 5 months. Basically, most of it was track and field competitions, but the rest of the events were sprinkled among several months of World's Fair sports showcases. So what they did is they ended up still having the World's Fair, and events and challenges in the World's Fair were considered Olympic events. And so that became confusing. So there was a military athletic carnival and an Irish sports festival and a YMCA basketball championship that were technically at the time considered a part of the Olympics. And it got really confusing. So the fair's organizers, they just used an umbrella term called everything Olympic. And then later they had to review it and determine what was and what was not Olympic. Okay.
So if you won, you had to wait and see if you won an Olympic competition or not.
Yeah. If your sport was considered Olympic or not.
Oh my gosh.
So then the marathon that happened was a complete train wreck. So, the race was held in 90-degree weather on a dust-covered road, and the inhospitable conditions conspired to force 18 of the 32 competitors to withdraw from exhaustion. One suffered a stomach hemorrhage and nearly died before receiving medical attention. And then the actual guy who won spent the last 10 miles of the competition in utter agony and was given several eggs, doses of toxic poison, and even plugs of brandy to keep him on his feet. So most of the people nearly died from exhaustion. But then
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. No. Here's the crazy part. So the guy who initially was declared the winner was found to have cheated. So the guy who was initially crowned the winner, what happened was halfway through the marathon, he got sick and he needed medical attention. So a car came and picked him up and went to take him to the hospital. But then the car broke down, and in between that time, he started to feel better. So the car had already driven towards the direction of the end of the marathon. So he just got out and finished the race after getting a 10-mile car ride. And so then he finished way ahead of everyone else. And so they went to declare him the winner, and he went along with it, just being oh yeah, it was me.
Oh, I did it. My gosh, dude.
And then finally someone was like, hey, I think that guy got a car ride, and they took the gold medal from him. Oh, and then I thought this part was funny. They included tug of war as an Olympic event, which I just find hilarious.
I find the idea of someone traveling from very far distances to a city in the middle of America to do a tug of war competition. Yeah. Hilarious.
Yeah, which country's best? Like, who's pulling this rope? And then the last thing, which nowadays you'd get so utterly canceled for, is the games included a side competition for third world tribesmen. So they called the event Anthropology Days.
What?
And as part of the 2-day contest, so-called uncivilized tribes were recruited from the World's Fair's human zoo.
Oh my!
And encouraged to try their hand at Olympic sports.
Andrew! It keeps getting worse with each sentence.
So these white people in the early 1900s,
my gosh,
pulled people from their human zoo and were like, "Hey, look at these tribesmen. Let's make them do Olympic sports."
What the heck, dude? Oh my gosh!
So
that was over 100 years ago. That was.
Yeah, you can't.
That was a long time ago.
You can try canceling the year 1904, but everyone's dead. So,
holy cow!
Yeah, the 1904 St. Louis Olympics.
That sounds like an absolute train wreck.
Are you ready to hear who I want to direct it?
Yes, I'm very curious.
Taika Waititi.
Oh, dude!
Like, you just sprinkle in his like comedic flavor.
Yeah,
I can just see it, man.
Oh my gosh, dude!
I think that would be perfect. Like, I want to see that movie. I found it today. I literally Googled like crazy real life events or something.
Oh my gosh.
And lo and behold, something from my hometown popped up.
Wow.
1904 St. Louis Olympics.
Dude, that is legit insane. That is crazy.
Isn't that amazing?
Holy cow. That's unbelievable. And that is what makes a great based on a true story movie. The fact that it's unbelievable.
Yeah. Honestly, there are so many points in that where you'd go, there's no way that happened.
Yeah.
And it did.
Yeah.
I think the hard part would just be like finding some kind of like through line or something that like would like unite it dramatically, like a message or something.
Right.
But I mean, or it could just be a totally off the wall comedy, like, you know, What We Do in the Shadows.
Right.
You know?
That is like a perfect director choice, though. Man.
Did you have a story?
Nope.
That's fine.
I couldn't think of one. I was so enthralled by your story. I don't think I could think of one that's better than that. That's totally fine. Is a great idea. The World's Fair thing, isn't Devil in the White City a story about it's based on a true story. It's a book. It's based on a true story about...
at the St. Louis World's Fair?
No, it's Chicago.
Chicago, yeah.
But I thought that there was... I think Martin Scorsese was supposed to be doing a movie about it, and I don't think it's the movie he has coming out with Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah, is that Devil in the White City?
It's not called Devil in the White City.
Let me give it a goog.
It's not called Devil in the White City. It's called the Under the Flower Moon or something.
Oh, Killers of the Flower Moon.
Killers of the Flower Moon.
True story.
Yeah, it's a different one. Yeah, but I thought he was supposed to be attached to direct that movie.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, he's making Killers of the Flower Moon, which I think is another true story crime book that was popular.
Yeah.
It's like the same style as Devil in the White City.
Yeah, so I heard that was something. But yeah, I was trying to think of like murder World's Fair stories, but that's the only thing I could think of.
Well, I was also thinking about mentioning like stories I've heard on true crime podcasts. That would make like for a good movie. But then part of me is like, I don't know, is it like good to like exploit these like real people suffering for a movie? Like, I know what happens, but it's one of those things where it's like, do you do it to like advocate for the crime not being solved and raise awareness, or is it like, are you just doing this so you have something dramatic to watch and entertain yourself?
Yeah. Well, I think that there's an interesting way of going about that too. Like that right there makes me think of Wind River, because it's not a true story, but it's a story about something true that happens to a certain group of people. Yeah. And so it's like bringing attention to that without really like calling out a true, like necessarily like a true story, but it's kind of informing you about something that is real, that does happen.
I think that about does it.
Yeah.
Got my coffee's gone.
There you go.
It's about time for bed. But real quick, housekeeping.
Yes.
I think next week we're gonna have our Christmas episode. I have an idea, and I think you guys are gonna like it.
We were talking about it. I
don't want to spoil it.
I dig it. I'm about it.
So stay tuned for next week. If you're listening on audio, remember you can watch all of our podcast episodes on YouTube at Why It's Great. If you're watching us at Why It's Great, go into the links below in the description, and I'll have the links to the Spotify and to the Apple Podcasts.
Yep.
So you can listen on audio while you're driving, while you're
working
doing the
out.
dishes.
Working out?
Can you imagine working out to us? Please don't.
No.
I don't.
Please don't.
Please, I just listen to us, but just not in that setting. Like, I'm sorry.
Listen. You listen to us however you want.
Okay.
How about that?
Yeah.
No judgment.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Go hit the treadmill.
Yeah.
Play last week's episode that you missed, and we'll see you next time.
I don't like that you're assuming that they missed it.